Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. I'm your host Holly and I'm joined by Stef and Chris. Hello gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hello.
It's Wednesday evening as we record this. The international break is over, all bar the returning players to respective squads and so on. This show we will briefly look back at how the Arsenal players fared and we'll look ahead to Nottingham Forest on Saturday. And I say that with a little bit of a chuckle because Nottingham Forest managed by Big Ange. We were talking before we started recording, Steph. What's a new manager bounce? What's the opposite of a new manager bounce? Is it a new manager drop?
Deflation.
Deflation. I don't know what it is.
And then I had a point about, well, the bounce goes up and down. So can a new manager bounce go both ways? Could it be both a good thing and a bad thing at the same time? We will see. We
look at when Forest lost their last game at home to West Ham 3-0, so that was pretty kind of, I don't know, concerning result for them, and they drew 1-1 at Palace before that, which isn't necessarily a bad result, but losing 3-0 at home to this iteration of West Ham seems a bit careless if you ask me, but we'll see. 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. But anyway, before we get to that, Steph, you're going to give us a little roundup of Arsenal's players in international fixtures. I watched 0 minutes of any international football over the last 10 days, so I'm utterly clueless other than the headlines I've read. What happened?
Well, I myself had planned to watch absolutely 0 minutes of international football, but when I saw various posts online about the fallout of the Andorra game, so England played Andorra last Saturday, and won 2-0, but people were really not impressed by the performance, incredibly flat. Overlooking the fact, look, I didn't watch the game, so I can't really say in terms of the performance and what it did for the eye, but Andorra haven't lost by more than 3 goals in something like 50 matches. They stick all their men behind the ball, they defend, they're fairly resolute, hard to beat, fair play to them. But yeah, it sparked a bit of a media storm and people questioning Tuchel and his approaches. Should be said that actually of the Arsenal players and the contingent that were involved, Rice got us an assist, I think, and a goal. And yeah. And Madueke seemed to come away with quite a lot of praise. He seemed to be one of the livelier players on the pitch.
We had 4 starters, didn't we?
Yes, along with Lewis Skelly and Eze as well. Again, Lewis Skelly seemed to come out of it, with his reputation still very much intact. Not that he probably had a huge amount to do. But it was following that game that I then looked and I said, well, where are England going next? Oh, they're away in Serbia. So I wasn't watching just because I thought that would be a much more interesting game. I watched it purely to see what kind of torrid situation and context and environment our players would be put through. And it turns out, actually, they went there, it was all very respectful, and England kind of blew Serbia away in the end, and it was 5-0, and Rice got another assist. Madueke scored his first goal for England and did look really quite dangerous.
A good goal, wasn't it?
Very good goal. He's got this thing where I've used the word raw to describe a player before, but with Madueke it's rawness, but there's something a little bit different about it. There's almost a naivety to his play in the sense that if he gets the ball, he's just straightforward. Get the ball at my feet, take on the man. And it was just relentless. He was just on at the fullback the whole time, ball at his feet all
Give
without.
Arteta a month.
Back to the keeper.
Right, we're on 4 minutes, and that first bit of negativity comes in there. Fine, okay.
You keep listening, keep watching, folks.
Yeah, so it was relatively sort of easy going. It has to be said, Lewis Skelly dropped to the bench. Actually, no, didn't make the matchday squad. Travelled, but didn't make the matchday squad.
I was worried about that.
But purely, they took 24. They took the whole squad, but could only name 23 players. Don't know what the rule is there for whatever reason, but there we go. And he's fine. Eze, again, just, started from the bench. And so
he didn't come on, did he?
Rotated. Did he not come on a little bit later in the game? I don't think he did, but yeah, either way. All good. So from an England point of view, with the players that were involved, yeah, really positive.
And I saw Rice was substituted in both games, which is good. He didn't play the full 90.
He still had that look about him. He gets to late on in games as though he's run a marathon a little bit, because he is all things to all men on the pitch. Because even the little things, I suppose, maybe it's one of those, 1% little marginal. But what's the opposite of a marginal gain? A marginal
loss,
detraction, or fallout or something, because he even has to run over to take all the blooming corners as well. Like, he's just adding to the kilometres that he runs in a game. But no, he was good, and his deliveries, found Kane, who scored the header from an outswinging corner, should be said. A lot of people were talking about how that didn't quite work against Liverpool. So all depends.
Can I ask, just with my England hat on, not my Arsenal hat on, should Harry Kane start up front for England?
Probably. I don't know what more. See, the thing is as well, that because the players behind, whether it's Madueke, Rashford came off the bench, or Eze, or
Gordon,
they're quite dynamic players. So Kane works as quite a good pivot for that. If you brought on Watkins, you don't want players and runners in behind. You need players who are going to feed him. So that might lend itself more to a Foden or a Carlton Palmer. Not Carlton Palmer, Cole Palmer.
I didn't even flinch.
I went back to the 90s.
No, Sheffield Wednesday, you're right. Got ya. What?
I suppose with the likes of Madueke behind him, probably.
Okay. What about other Arsenal players?
So, Calafiori played for Italy in their first game, but then was rested for the second. So, touchwood, he's coming back to us still pretty fit. The most pleasing thing that I heard was in the second Brazil game, Big Gabby and Little Gabby were both rested for that game. So that's good. They should be coming back with a clean bill of health. Reports came out of the French camp. Saliba was never going to play, having picked up the injury against Liverpool. But the talk is now we're looking at 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
That he won't be involved for France in the next set of international games. That was
so what's
the way
that, October?
couched.
Oh, that's near my birthday. Yeah.
So I think it's 7 games.
Right.
However, Mosquera played extremely well when he came on away at Liverpool.
Incredibly.
This is the thing. Ben White will be back in the squad for Saturday.
Yeah.
Ngapié, it will be kicking round. We've got cover, but Mosquera he should absolutely start the game against Forest and take it from there. Again, I keep saying, he's a kid, he's so young, but he's played over 70 La Liga games. So he's young, but he's experienced. So
it was Valencia as well, wasn't it? They're a competitive team as far as I'm aware. Big name, big expectation.
What about others?
Ødegaard had a very successful time with Norway. There were goals involved. There were assists. The worrying thing from my point of view is his haircut. He has had a haircut which is more in the style of Fabian Wirtz, who plays now for Liverpool.
We've stolen a haircut off Liverpool.
Well, we do copy everything from them, so why can't our players copy their haircuts as well? When I saw, again, people posting about Ødegaard having a haircut, I was hoping he'd get rid of his scraggly little evil Ødegaard beard, but no, that stayed, and he's had a crop. So the boyish good looks are not so boyish anymore. He still rocks it, and I'm incredibly jealous of his hairline, obviously. But yeah, goals and assists, playing with a smile on his face. He was asked some really unfair questions in some of the press conferences, so people putting to him Tony Adams' comments on podcast ridiculous. About saying why Rice should be the captain. Why you're asking him that when he's the captain of his country, I just find absolutely ridiculous. It's just clickbaiting, and it's not fair on the player.
It's also from a bygone era, the idea that your captain had to be like that.
Also,
is Rice going to behave any differently?
No, this is exactly what I was going to say. Rice is as much a leader on the pitch for Arsenal, whether he's wearing the captain's armband or not. Like, it literally doesn't matter. Big Gabby's the same. Yeah, Raya, commanding instructions from the back. They're all leaders. That's what I like about this team so much. Everyone's taking responsibility.
Timber.
It just so happens Odegaard is the figurehead, for those certain duties that a captain has to do. I'm sure I heard somewhere that they kind of put it to a vote in the team.
Yeah.
There might be and he's chosen, so he's obviously so well thought of in that camp and that team that's probably a great way to do it. Presumably they do it blind, and it's not like at school when you're picking like sides and you're kind of like, well, I better pick my mate then because I don't want him to not like me.
The fat snotty kid is left at the end.
Who would that be? Who'd be the last to be picked in the current squad? Let's not go there. We don't want to be too rage baity.
I know where I went. But
You went to Trossard, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Well, obviously, so did you.
Maybe that's why he's sulking so much. No, not people.
Well, that's the reason, the sulk. Yes, that is what got my goat against him.
Love it.
It's the sulk. But anyway, any other international updates? We're talking about Republic of Ireland. You can talk about Cyprus, Chris, if you want.
Should probably talk about the big one. Arsenal's defensive midfielder, Mikel Merino, scored a hat-trick against Turkey. Who knew?
That's a segue into a little deep dive I've done.
Okay, let's hear it.
Merino, well, okay. But
what a finisher.
Chris, do you want to big up Cyprus?
Well, they came back from 2-0 down at home to Romania to draw 2-2. This is little Cyprus with a population, a
25.
tenth of the size of London. So we did all right.
Where are you in the group? I have no idea.
I think we're second from bottom by virtue of San Marino being so awful.
Is that the same as being third?
Yeah, I think it's
See,
third
some of the
or
groups
fourth.
only have 4 countries.
No, I think it's 5, and I think we're fourth. But we're not expecting. It's just for pride. So well done, the lads.
Well, you've got a team in the Champions League.
That's great.
Yes, Paphos. Yeah,
on
with
the
old
up.
Shaggy. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Chris. It's Bafos.
Buffos, yes, Buffos. Thank you. Well done.
After you taught us last time, I thought I'd get that in there.
Join us next week for more pronunciation. Yeah.
Mishaps.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, I want to ask you both a question, and it links to me being negative. It links to what you just said about Merino and a third defensive midfielder playing at Anfield, and the criticisms that Arteta took for starting with him, kind of overcautious, too conservative, and so on. And he goes and bangs in a hat-trick for Spain. Different position, perhaps, for sure.
I think that's the key.
Do you think, because in the last podcast I was a bit hard on Arteta, and one of the clips that what you put out on TikTok, Steph, was just me really kind of hammering down out of context, because I'd done a build up to it, but just out of context, thanks Steph, where
the clips are for.
I basically accused Arteta of costing us points, right? Which seems a bit harsh, but do you think, and I used last season as the kind of barometer and a continuation this season, maybe with the team selection at Liverpool and the delay in the substitutions at Anfield, perhaps, although, as people have pointed out, it was 0-0 on 70 minutes when the changes were made, so kind of, do you think, Steph, first, that Arteta does cost us points, or is too cautious, or
Well, just using recency bias with this international break and all the positive things we've just said about our captain Odegaard going and getting goals and assists, about Merino going and getting a hat-trick for Spain, it could be read in the way that it might reflect badly on Arteta, in the sense that normally players go and play for their country and they're weighted down by expectation and the pressure that being under that kind of spotlight for your country is there. Feels a bit reverse in some respects. Maybe Merino went to Spain and had a bit more freedom to express himself. But my caveat to that is about the context of the opposition. Arsenal go away to Liverpool, and we're not necessarily going to take the handbrake off.
Sean of Saka, Sean of our best
Sean
player,
of Saka
and
as well.
In the
You could argue Havertz being an option at least. He might not have started, but certainly been an option. Yeah, and the other factors in that may tell the narrative of that game slightly differently. all things being equal, maybe it would have been a slightly different approach. But I do worry, and I was thinking when that Marino stuff happened, and I was quite critical as well, because I felt Marino wasn't going to offer enough of a link-up with the attacking line, when actually he might benefit from being part of that attacking line a bit more as well. So I was critical of that setup too. But then I got thinking after the whole hat-trick against Turkey that he scored, to me, I feel like what we've got are lots of good players. And it's a bit like the Havertz conundrum. When we signed Havertz, there was that debate, what is he? Is he a attacking midfielder? Is he a pure midfielder? Is he a forward? No one really sees him as an out-and-out centre-forward. But he is an incredibly good player. And it's kind of like he's incredibly good wherever you put him, but he doesn't have that one specific role. Gyökeres is only going to play in that number 9 role. That's it. He's not going to play anywhere else. If he does, it will be proper galaxy brain stuff from Arteta, or pure bare bones. We've got no other option but to stick him maybe slightly wide or something like that. Whereas Havertz, Marino, perhaps less Odegaard, but Rice is turning into that player a little bit as well. Some people want to see him deeper. Some people want to see him further forward. Zubimendi, I'm getting a feel for what he's like as a midfielder. They're just really good players. I think Marino and Havertz are the best cases of that, where people just don't quite know exactly what they are, but they are very good. So as long as wherever we put them, they are playing very well, then great. But would like to see, more hat-tricks from Marino, goes without saying.
Okay, I'm not quite sure whether you've answered my question or not, Blair.
It was a politician's answer.
It was, wasn't it? Because it's like, I agree with everything you said, but hang on, I've had to look back at my notes to see what the question was. So, Chris, I'll ask you the question. Do you think Arteta is too conservative?
I think we've been investing in the infrastructure of the country.
I was engaged there.
You were there, weren't you?
This is good. This is good.
Where's this going? What's this got to do with makeup? His hair, his lush hair. I think it's. I mean, to pick up on what Steph was saying, I do think it's that kind of.
Please don't.
Contextual. Well, no, to sort of splinter off and try and bring us back on track, if you like. But where he was talking about it was kind of contextual in terms of, like the Liverpool game, for example, set up supposedly defensively. Okay, you're going to Anfield. You're not going to go gung-ho and get walloped 6-0. And if we'd come away with a 0-0, we'd be talking about it, I think, slightly differently. Possibly with the regret that we could have gone for it. But look, we got undone by a moment of, magic. So is Arteta too conservative? Sometimes, like we said last week, with the in-game management making those kind of sensing blood and kind of making the changes a tad earlier. But I do think there's a tiny bit of Captain Hindsight going on there as well. Last year, he got a bit of a pass because of all the injuries and the crazy decisions that went against us. Year before we were blowing teams away 5s and 6s. So it's not a kind of binary yes or no for me. So fence-sitting politician's answer for you.
Just one more point. I think we can probably make more of a conclusion in a couple of games' time. Forest at home this weekend is not really the game to do that, because we'll be expected to maybe be a bit more front foot. If it was Nuno's Forest, they would have certainly been more defensive looking to counter. Big Ange could throw a complete spanner in the works, don't know. But either way, the onus will be on us, like it usually is on the home team in any Premier League game, to take the team to the opposite.
Unless you're Liverpool for some reason, you get a free pass at that.
Let's not go there. Or maybe we should get those clicks.
At my expense, thanks.
But our next away game, if I'm right, I can't remember the exact schedule, Newcastle. Now, Newcastle, all right, they've lost Isak, that's not the point, but that has been a place where we have struggled to get results. And so they will make it incredibly difficult for us how we approach that game, whether we try and get at them a little bit. That might be a bit more telling, I think, for where Arteta is, because there's a definite sense that he certainly approaches those big games. And look, I feel bad thinking maybe we could be a bit more attacking when we have such a good record against the top six, very much in inverted commas. He's made us tough to be in those big games where we used to dread going into them and worry about getting absolutely, taken apart by the likes of City, Chelsea, whoever it was. So yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? I think we're just getting a bit, I don't know.
Well, if you look, Chris, you mentioned it. In this 22-23 season, in 38 league games, we scored 88 goals. So 38 games, 88 goals. We conceded 43. 23-24 season, 38 games, we scored 91 goals. We conceded 29. I mean, how we didn't win the league that year. Last season, obviously 38 games again, we dropped from 91 goals to 69 goals. Defensively conceded 34, still okay. The 69 goals scored was the third highest in the Premier League behind City and Liverpool. So there's a huge drop in goals scored there. Obviously, Saka, Ødegaard, Havertz, Jesus all suffered long-term-ish injuries. That's going to have an impact. So that's surely, you'd hope that would be an anomaly, the outlier that season. So the criticism of Arteta being conservative is, I think, even though I delivered that criticism last podcast, I think it's incredibly harsh. And that was the sense I got when I just looked at those numbers. Last season, do you know that we were the minutes... Let me get this right. The total percentage of Premier League minutes trailing last season we were 9.8% of total Premier League minutes we were trailing in games. That's the lowest in the entire division. So we were behind for the the fewest amount of minutes in the Premier League last season. Like that stat I can't quite wrap my head around. Like, we finished a distant second. We scored very few goals, but we were actually trailing for... So you talk about your fine margins or your bad luck, and this is where I then went down the rabbit hole. We dropped 21 points from winning positions last season. We lost a lead in 10 games last season. I went through every one of those 10 games, looking at the score, what happened, the game state, substitute, players available, starting 11, players on the bench, players available, time of substitutions in relation to the goals. I did all this.
When did you do this? Me and you are teachers. We've both gone back to work this week. How have you had the time to do this?
I didn't watch any international football.
He was up at 3 a.m. doing it. That's what it was.
Stats Dad is committed.
So, look, the first one of those games, Brighton 1-1.
Oh.
Okay. Now, look, I said at the time, so this is my defence on this one, why are we sitting back? Why are we sitting back? Brighton were poor. We were 1-0 up. Don't go for it, but just don't change so much. But that was Rice's ridiculous sending off. And that was such an outrageous sending off that I can forgive, momentary, I don't know, what do you call it?
Head loss.
Yeah, from Arteta, what do we do? What do we do? Stick or twist? Why was he sent off? I don't understand what's just happened. It's so okay. So that one. The next one was 2-2 at City. Trossard's red card. Again, that was an honourable 2-2 draw. That was,
and it was 96th minute,
97th minute. John Stones, and it was just it hit Raya, and it could have gone over the bar, but it went underneath the bar, that kind of thing. Next one was home to Liverpool, 2-2. Salah scored in the 81st minute. I can't, because it's Liverpool, I can't...
Yeah, that can happen against Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly, right? And, you're not looking for perfection, and I think that's my problem, is in this day and age, the microscope is so fixed, on the minutiae of every decision. And I'm like, oh, come on. Even the Liverpool game last week, 2 weeks ago, on 70 minutes, and I like Chris, you said in the WhatsApp group before the game kicked off, where's the link between midfield and attack coming? And absolutely, it was so I wasn't on board with the Marino or the Martinelli choice, but 0-0 after 70 minutes, you're thinking, well, it's working.
And he brings on Eze and
Ødegaard.
And Ødegaard. Well, there you go. He's trying to find that link. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So again, I think the frustration of the result overshadows the reality of those decisions, right?
Outcome bias. That's what it is, yeah.
Chelsea away was the next one, where we drew 1-1. Neto scored in the 70th minute. But again, Chelsea away, a draw away at Chelsea, you're thinking it's a decent result. You don't know what you're going to get with Chelsea. 1-1 away. Now, Brighton away.
Oh, the Saliba penalty.
So again,
our minibus broke down and it snowed.
So we conceded the penalty in the 61st minute.
Can I just ask, why are we doing this? I've processed all this. I've been through this trauma.
No, this is to make you feel, because
it's not making me feel bad.
I'm not blaming Arteta.
Sure, okay,
point.
Right.
So that's my look. The thesis here is about Arteta. It's not about injuries and refereeing decisions. That obviously factors in, in your kind of overall understanding the underlying reasons behind the sense that Arteta is too cautious. I don't think they're justified, and this is evidence. Yeah. There's no game here that something ridiculous hasn't happened to us so far. The Liverpool at home, but again, they were the champions. That happens. Yeah. You can draw 2-2 at home with Liverpool with a full complement of players. The fact that we were 2-1 up with 10 minutes to go is pretty good, as well. And Liverpool went for it, and they got someone like Mo Salah on their team, who had the season of his life last season. So, the Pedro penalty. So Saliba header, where he headed the other player and conceded a penalty, ridiculous decision. You will never see it again. You haven't seen it before.
See it again.
What have I written there? Okay, we started that game with Ethan Nwaneri, Jesus and Trossard as our front three.
Wow, did we?
Yes, that goal was conceded. The penalty was conceded on 61 minutes. He'd actually swapped Martinelli on for Nwaneri at half time, and 3 minutes after the equaliser, he brought Ødegaard on for Jorginho. That's going for it. It just didn't work out. That happens. Yeah. And you're dealing with the injustice of that penalty, where everybody knew that was the most. I've said that the most ridiculous decision, and I think I've said it about 5 times, and
it's just one season.
Then we get to Villa at home, 2-2. We were 2-0 up, and we had this madness of 8 minutes from 60 minutes on. But the only sub we brought on, and I looked at the subs bench, he was the only option to change it because we were being hammered by injuries at this point. Sterling. Sterling for Martinelli. Saka and Saliba were injured.
That's like throwing wind to the caution, really, isn't it? That one.
Can I name you the subs bench for that Villa game? Butler, Oyedeji, Jorginho, Kabia, Kikuri, Kivior, Neto, Tierney and Zinchenko.
I think Kikuri is the only one still around in the youth setup.
He's gone on loan, hasn't he?
Oh, has he? Oh, has he gone? Yeah. Well, there you go. I missed that one then.
That's a dearth of options on the bench. Yeah. And we were 2-0 up, and we had a madness 8 minutes and came back to 2-2.
Watkins.
Yeah. And Villa could have won the game, from that point.
Blimey.
The next one was Everton draw, 1-1. Another ridiculous penalty decision I've written. What was it? Oh, Lewis Skelly just fell, was tackled and fell and conceded the penalty.
That was that last game at Goodison, I remember now. Yeah.
No, I looked at the timing, 5th of April. We were home to Real Madrid 3 days later.
Yeah.
So, again...
And look, just remind me what we did at home to Real Madrid.
I don't remember. That. Would you like to...
I think we won 3-0 and absolutely mullered them. I tell you what... It goes underrated because of Rice's free kicks. That Marino goal is absolutely amazing.
His finishing is unerring, I think is the word I would use.
It's amazing. And the build-up to it, just taking Madrid apart. If it wasn't for Courtois, that would have been a ridiculous score. Oh, good time.
But again, drop points at Goodison because of a penalty.
Yeah.
that wasn't that everybody unanimously agreed afterwards was not a penalty.
No.
Chris.
I think, and again, I'm just trying to chuck this in as a sort of slight counter, is that stats aside, what does the eye test tell you about the way we play under Arteta? Since Control FC...
Yeah, but you can't...
You can attribute the conservative tag to the way we play, not just the stats.
We've scored 91 goals in the season before, 88 the season before that,
right,
when he had his best attacking players available to him. So last season, he did not have his best attacking players available. I'm telling you, what was that? I can't remember the game was. 1-1 at Brighton. And the only attacking player he had on the bench was Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
What else can he do?
No,
and we've conceded a dodgy
agree.
penalty. So before I did this, I was fully signed up to what you've just said.
But
the
that
eye
doesn't
test tells me
discount. That doesn't discount the eye test telling you, well, we could move it a bit quicker. You know how we're always saying how we want to transition. You're not sure.
No, but what options does he have?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Personnel.
This is a tactical thing. It's not about stats and personnel. It's about this is how we play. We don't counter too quickly because if we get recountered on, we're going to have 6 men in our own half. That old chestnut, basically, the horseshoe of death. There is an eye test element to this where we sit there and we go, well, if we win this, we're happy. If we don't, we're going to be bemoaning the fact that there's a sort of inherent conservatism. And I'm on your side. I'm just saying it as a slight counter.
Okay, so how does the same manager go from 88 goals scored, 91 goals scored, 69 goals scored? He's not changed his philosophy. And I that's why I keep saying about the Leeds game. Winning 5-0 against Leeds was really quite significant for me. End of November last season before we got to 5. End of August this season, we get to 5 in a game. So what happened last season that resulted in us, I haven't worked out a percentage, but dropping from 91 goals scored to 69 goals scored with the same manager? Something happened. He hasn't had a change in philosophy.
It's context, yeah.
But he had to change his... Yeah, he had to...
No, because of what?
Personnel.
Yeah. So it wasn't his decision to start the horseshoe of death and don't concede. It was born out of the personnel he had available to him, or the personnel that he was shorn of.
I'll chip in one for devil's advocate then. What is Arteta's philosophy? Because there are a couple of managers that are going to be making headlines this weekend. You've got Big Ange, who's coming at Forest, who is essentially, I'm going to play the highest line that I dare, and I'm going to try and squeeze the pitch up as high as possible so that we play the ball in their half and we just go direct to goal because he's an idiot. Possibly. I'm just going to throw that in there. You've got Amorim, Man United, who is absolutely wedded to this 3-4-3. Welded. Yeah, not even wedded. He's welded to the 3-4-3 system that he just refuses to shift on, despite the personnel to do it.
Even at Grimsby.
Slapped by the fish, as they brilliantly tweeted out at the time, which I had to seeing kids coming back into school.
Answer your own question. What is Arteta's style?
Right. So here, I think I'm coming to a similar conclusion in that I said in the same vein about Mourinho and Havertz. They're not fixed. I don't think Arteta is fixed. I think Arteta has enough nous to adapt to what he's got. I see the same sort of thing with Slot, actually. When Slot took over that Liverpool side, it was geared up for Klopp, high energy, high press, heavy metal football, and he just said, hang on a minute, let's just put the brakes on. We've got a good keeper, one of the best in the world. We've got a great defender in Van Dijk and really good fullbacks. We don't need to be gung-ho. all the time. We can actually control games from the back a lot more than just trying to press all the time. And, that served them very well in terms of the title. Allowed Salah to basically stay up and always be that spare man and available for them, and it served them really well. They had a couple of good runners in midfield, Szoboszlai and Gravenbach. McAllister, who I thought had a really good season last season. I think Arteta tries that. He looks at the personnel available, sometimes the opposition, and then sometimes it is just a case of having to cope with injuries, and then you end up with Raheem Sterling being the only option off the bench. So I'm hoping, the problem is now he's in another situation where we have suffered a couple of injuries, but the players coming in are of a really good standard that he can still do something with it, but those players are so new, he's still working out how to get the best out of them. Whether that's Madueke, we might see a little bit more, obviously, of Eze, we hope, this weekend. So, yeah, there's still going to be a little bit of flux, I worry, this year before any kind of flow or groove is met by the team. Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know how much of a transitional period he'll require. So, I'm a little bit annoyed, or not annoyed, but miffed that Big Ange hasn't had more time with his Forest team, because
to mess him up.
I hope he does play a high line, because can you imagine Gyökeres and Madueke running on to through balls from Ødegaard and Eze?
I'm thinking of the personnel that they've got. Milenkovic is a very good defender, but he's not mobile. And Murillo, who's the other defender who complements him quite well, he goes walkabout. So Elliot Anderson, who played very well for England, it should be said, and I think is a really, really good player, will have to do a lot of covering for them if he goes full Ange.
It just depends on how much influence he has. But we'll talk about Forest. We'll talk about Forest in a minute. So, look, listen, I was completely on board with the idea that Arteta was super cautious based on last season. But look, it's only when you actually dig into the individual games, and again, you go Arsenal-Brentford. We dominated the game. We drew 1-1. He made his substitutions early, and they were offensive. As in, they were attacking. I wasn't upset by them.
It wasn't Raheem Sterling coming on and you were offended.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Saka and Ødegaard came on
right
just after we conceded.
Yeah.
So he's going for it. Again, the timings, he's got Champions League games, he's managing Saka's minutes and Ødegaard's minutes as well, because they both had, long-term injuries.
Yeah.
2-2 against Palace, 6 days before PSG game. At this point, you can stop reading into the league games, because the league, we were kind of looking to finish second at this point. The title was gone.
And we're favouring the Champions League.
And yes, absolutely. And the last game we dropped points and was home to Bournemouth, and that's right in the middle between the two PSG games.
And Bournemouth were still pushing for Europe.
And we're a really
good side. Yeah, really
exciting
side.
Attacking team. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is ease up, relax a little bit on the Arteta criticism. I'm talking to me. I'm not preaching to anybody else. This is kind of self-help kind of territory. That last season was an anomaly. The contributing factors to it were the spate of injuries to key players and the lack of quality. That bench against PSG, for example, was ridiculous for a Champions League semi-finalist. But we're not in that situation, and we have already scored 5 goals in our first home game. We'll see how it plays out on Saturday and in subsequent games. We are in the midst of a ridiculously difficult opening 6 games to the season, and we're halfway and we're doing all right. 6 points out of 9 is okay. It's annoying that we dropped 1 point. I was taking the draw, obviously, against Liverpool, and so we've lost a point there, but by losing that point, Liverpool have gained 2 points, so there's kind of a double whammy on that. But to lose Saka and Ødegaard and Havertz and Jesus when Sterling is your backup, yeah. Gabriel was out for...
Gabriel, sorry, yeah.
And Martinelli, lest we forget. We lost him for a bit as well.
We've still lost him, haven't we?
Well, that's another conversation.
He's still lost, isn't he? Bless him. Love him as I do. He's not my Martinelli angst is not like my Trossard angst. My Martinelli angst comes from a place of love.
So should we expect a deep dive into Martinelli's numbers next episode then, to try and convince yourself that actually he's doing a little bit better than you might think?
Well, I know that if I did that for the back end of last season, that's the conclusion I would arrive at. That his stats were comparable to the best wingers in the world in European football for the last 7 to 10 games last season.
But you could argue that's stat padding.
Yeah, and Chris, you talk about the eye test.
Yeah, never more true than with Martinelli.
Yeah, and we know where his failings are, and now that we've got players who are far more dangerous and outputty, if that's a word, then
it is now.
It is now. Call me the modern day Shakespeare. Right. Okay. Look, I just wanted to deal with I've had 2 weeks to kind of simmer, and I felt bad because I'm not usually that kind of Arteta critical or Arsenal bashing, like rage bait, clickbait kind of commentator on football, on Arsenal, and I didn't like hearing how negative I was on Arteta. Arteta will cost us points, is costing us points. I thought that's a bit extreme. You cannot get perfection. Like it's not possible. It's not a human state. So I found the evidence to support to prove me wrong, to challenge my eye test, if you like.
I think you get sucked into the media, social media kind of binary arguments thing, and if you do step back and have a more nuanced kind of view on it, it is okay to say maybe he got that wrong in a game. Maybe the fact that he is, takes great pride in us as a defensive unit, that's something to be proud of. We shouldn't be negative on that. That's the basis of our success. So don't scorn.
Yeah. I spent many years criticising Wenger in his pomp for not making substitutions earlier than the 67 minutes. The Terraces were very vocal in their criticism of Thierry Henry, missing many chances, culminating in Paris. Even at the time, we'd be shouting, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's missed that. He's rubbish. He's awful. Let him sod off to Barcelona." And then at the same time, in the very next breath, thinking, we're going to look back on this player and think how lucky we were, like how honoured and privileged we were to witness this player play for our club every week, and we knew it. And a player who was received standing ovations from multiple away grounds, like never seen that before or since in my supporting life, where where you knew the home team fans were literally coming to watch the Arsenal, as the song goes. They were, and we'd blow them. It was in the era that we'd blow the teams away in the first 15-20 minutes, be 2 or 3-0 up, and that was it, game over. And that's what the home support had come to see. They were like, "This is amazing," because they were like, back to playing against Crewe and Bradford in the League One, like 2 seasons later, and they knew it. Anyway. Shall we look ahead to Forest on Saturday?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, well, I have got a quiz. I'm going to throw that out at the start. And yes, it is. I'll couch it like this. 14 players. This is a hard one. No, wait. I'm not asking for 14 players. Relax, gentlemen. 14 players have played for both Arsenal and Forest in the Premier League era. I'm looking, and this isn't any easier, to be fair. I'm looking for the 5 who've accumulatively represented us the most. So it's not necessarily the top 5. So for example, the top 1 has played 343 games for both clubs, 338 for us, 5 for Forest. That's the top 1. But it's a tough. I mean, I imagine I'll be giving you lots of clues for these players. Anyway, so there's 14 players have represented both clubs. I've made a list of those. I haven't noted down the total appearances for those or for all of those, but the top 5 I have. Okay, I'll be able to give you the years that they represented respective clubs as well. Okay, so that's the quiz. We'll get back to that before we wrap this up. Injury news: Ola Anna has picked up an injury, went off with a hamstring playing for his country on the international break. That's the only injury. Update again Wednesday night we're recording. Still 3 days to go. Who knows what will happen with either club. White and Norgard should be back on the bench for us. Forest lost their last game at home to West Ham, as we said 3-0. I watched that game. West Ham were actually deserving of that. To whether that's a terrible indictment on Forest, they've obviously not got the same manager anymore. They drew 1-1 at Palace before that, and they won their opening game. I can't remember who it was against, but it was at home and it was pretty comfortable.
Brentford, if I remember rightly.
Brentford, yeah, that sounds about right. I think it was a B, all right. Okay, Steph, who's in your starting lineup for us?
Well, I just want to talk about Forest for a second because I find it interesting. I'd completely missed, and you told me this earlier before we started recording, that Big Ange is following in Nuno's footsteps for the second time. And it's just bizarre that, again, we talked about managers and their styles. So Arteta, not quite sure what his style is exactly. He seems quite adaptive. Big Ange is all-out attack. Nuno's clearly defensive, hit on the counter. So to swing from one way to the other will be, quite the interesting move, because you presume a lot of Forest's business in the summer was kind of geared up towards providing Nuno, although apparently a lot of the fallout was he wasn't overly happy with the players that had been signed.
What, like 35 million for Hutchison?
Yeah, there's some interesting things going on there, isn't there? Yep, the money laundering player, as I'm going to probably call him now, allegedly, should probably put that out there.
Might have to blank that, bleep that.
Sorry about that. But obviously, Edu's in charge. And Edu seemingly now has this reputation of being one of those sporting directors that just has the one or two agents that he deals with. And is that really good in providing your team with exactly what they want? Probably not. So it's very interesting. And that's all under the leadership of this absolutely mad Bond villain main character energy owner in this Marinakis, also owner of Olympiacos, where whoever the manager is must be mad to take the job, or will take it knowing, well, I'm going to be fired, so that'll be a nice
big
payoff. Yeah, exactly, because he's going to just be there. It's really funny. I remember laughing in the summer when Morgan Gibbs-White had supposedly flirted with Newcastle and may have been going there, and then suddenly turned around and pledged his allegiance to Mr. Marinakis. And that was the thing. In his video where he was announcing it, Mr. Marinakis was there, and Morgan Gibbs-White kept saying Mr. Marinakis. I've never seen such a hostage video in my life. It was ridiculous. He might as well have been holding up a newspaper going, Mr. Marinakis is looking after me.
It was Spurs, wasn't it?
Was it Spurs? Oh, it was even
Spurs,
better.
Because they thought they'd triggered the release clause, which was supposed to have been a secret.
Which they didn't know about.
But the best thing, obviously, credit to the Crystal Palace fans who knocked up that brilliant banner.
Saying,
if you haven't seen it, you've not seen the banner.
Gun.
It's a picture of Marinakis holding a gun to Gibbs-White's head. Gibb-White's head. Saying, no, I'm not saying this. I'm saying this of my own free will or something. I mean, it was quite an elaborate bit of writing next to it, but the pictures was just hilarious, and it was this huge banner.
You go. I mean, the optics, what's being given out. I mean, he fits into that kind of despot, dictator, like narcissist. It's all about me thing. It just seems bonkers. Poor old Forest as well. They've had one of their best seasons in the Premier League and are going to be playing European football. Although
their fans are gutted. I feel sorry for the fans. They're devastated.
So
I mean,
distraught.
You've got the best manager, the first time in 30 years they're in Europe, and the manager seems to have really kind of turned the playing side of the club around.
Yeah.
And now they're having to face up to the reality of Big Ange.
Yeah. And I know this is the thing. I know full well that Big Ange is one of those guys. He's like a drunk in a car park, isn't he? One of his swings might hit, and they could get a result
3-0
against us. I know that. I'm fully aware of that. But at the same time, he's just. I can't take him seriously. Like, as a manager, who we are, mate, and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not changing for anything. And then he said the thing at the trophy parade where he says, you thought the second season was good, you wait till season 3. Well, season 3's at a different club, because you won one club a cup, and now you got binned off, and now it's bizarre. I don't know. Yeah.
You'd pay to watch a fight-off between Marinakis and Big Ange, especially... If you caricature them as Bond villain versus drunk in a car park.
Yeah, it's all well good. It's all good having your lasers, isn't it? Yeah, but I've got a broken bottle. What are you going to do with that? Anyway, my Arsenal team.
What's your team?
Yeah, I know.
What's
right?
your team?
I'm a bit giddy. I'm tired.
Meanwhile, what was my fucking question again?
You'll be surprised to know, Raya in goal. Back 4, Timber, Mosquera, Gabriel, Calafiori. While he's fit, let's use him. He got Player of the Month in August, and he seems like he's fit at the moment. All good. Midfield 3, Odegaard, Zubamendi, Rice. And then a front 3. I'm predicting...
No.
Arteta's team.
Yes, but no.
Madueke, Gyökeres, Martinelli.
No, he's not going to do that.
I think he is.
He shouldn't do that for Martinelli's sake.
Look, for me, and a bit like last time where I said, look, if Odegaard's not fit, don't start him, put Marino in, and then I was not overly happy with that.
Is he too negative, Holly?
At home, I can see him going, I still think he'll want more time with Eze. I don't know why I'm saying that. I've got nothing to base it on. Because Eze, then we've got a couple of really tough games. We've got Bilbao in the Champions League. We've got Man City at home. We've got Newcastle away in a couple of weeks, I think, beyond that. I don't know. I think Martinelli at home, Forest, getting behind, bring Eze on maybe for a bit longer. That's what I can see him doing. I want to see Eze as soon as possible myself.
My worry would be that, if Martinelli runs down a blind alley after 10 minutes, in the first 10 minutes, the crowd are going to be on his back.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I'm not sure it will do Martinelli any favours. Because he is the new lightning rod, and I'm sorry about that. Like, it's not his fault. He's like, I don't blame him. He's not deliberately playing badly or poorly.
But he wasn't. There were lots of his game, albeit not necessarily in an attacking sense, against Liverpool, that was very good. He sacrifices sometimes, I think, what he can do in an attacking sense for the good of the team. But ultimately, he's going to be judged on his output as a forward.
Especially when the players behind him, as in waiting in the wings, are of the calibre they are.
Yeah, it's not Raheem Sterling anymore, is it?
No. Or your Deji.
Yeah.
Chris?
Exactly the same team, but I am playing Eze from the start. I don't think there's a better opportunity to blood him, really, in this run of games. Get him on there, get him in there early. And I totally agree. I think Martinelli just needs to be taken out of the spotlight for a bit, for those reasons you just said.
Yep.
He is a
play him away in Europe.
Exactly. I was just going to say away. Play him away in any of those games. Maybe not Newcastle, although I don't know. He might train well. He might feel like he's worth chucking in against Newcastle. Who knows? But I think for now, I'd like to see Eze start. So
yep. Chris, I've gone for exactly the same team as you. Can I just, with that team in mind? Sorry, Steph.
That's right.
Just because I named out the bench that played against Villa and Brighton and things, let me name the bench that could be, with our injuries. Listen to the bench now: Trossard, Waneri, Martinelli, Dowman, Marino, Lewis Skelly, White, Kepa and Nkapia. I mean, it's night and day.
You take that. And that's with a few players out.
That's with the injuries. That's with Jesus,
Havertz,
Saka, Saliba, Havertz out. You know?
Yeah.
Sorry, Steph, you were going to...
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I actually put the question out to our followers online about what team they would go for and if it would, or what team they thought Arteta would pick, and whether they would do anything different. And it is absolutely unanimous. So Fuchsia Sky, who's a regular contributor on BlueSky, he's same team, but with Eze in. Tabs at the Grove AFC podcast, who you may have heard on our previous pod that we actually beat in their quiz that they hosted.
Can we just emphasise that they challenged us to a quiz off, pod v pod quiz, and were sent packing tails between legs. Hammered.
Let's be gracious. Let's be gracious in victory.
They did perform very well. A couple of questions here and there, but
just not well enough.
But we took home the trophy, so there we go. Tabs at the Grove podcast. He's gone with Eze as well, as did a couple of people on TikTok whose follower names I didn't get. Just Eze. Everyone's wanting to see him and wants to see more of him.
Yeah, and I would imagine that would still be the case even if Saka was playing. People would want Eze on the other side as opposed to Madueke. I think Eze's above him in the Arsenal fans' psyche at the moment. However, Madueke, I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans, big Arsenal accounts on social media, revise their view on Madueke, and I've heard other fans of other clubs now saying that A, they understand why we went for him, and B, can see why we paid what we did for him. It seems
I'll just say though, it's like doubly ridiculous that first they were slagging him off, and after like 3 games, they're now
he's
saying
not even scored for us.
He's the second coming. It's somewhere in between, as often is the case. Yeah. Let's just give it time. This is a very small sample size. He's clearly talented. He needs a run of games in good form before we can make any sort of definitive judgments.
Yeah, he's not even scored for us yet.
I was just to say as well on the internationals, I was delighted that in a way it was a kind of flat track bullying in a sense with a lot of our players. And I don't really care. The fact that Norway thumped whoever it was 11-1 and Ødegaard was stroking it around, and Serbia were playing a ridiculously high line which aided Madueke to get that goal. Brilliant, bring it on. I don't care. I'm just glad that they've gotten a bit of momentum.
Confidence. Confidence inducing, for sure. All right, bring us back down to earth then, Steph. What's your score prediction?
How very dare you?
That's old Steph. Sorry, I take it back.
I'm going 3-1 Arsenal.
Oh my God.
We're at home.
Chris. This is the third. I must get you to go back. I think this will be the third game in a row where Steph is out. No, I did the Leeds. I did the Leeds game. I predicted a 3-0 Leeds. I think you said 2-0 or 2-1, Steph. But that's anyway. Chris.
2-0.
Okay, and I've gone 2-1.
So hey,
God,
all predicting a win.
Tight.
I may have been hoodwinked by the fact that Ange is going there, and I just find him hilarious. But Forest are in flux. It's in change. That West Ham game, could be an anomaly for them, but West Ham have been pretty awful. Pretty awful. So that wasn't a good look at all. There'll be a lot of soul searching before the international break. Manager change. Yeah, but we could take advantage.
But the players were really on board with Nuno as well. I know that was
another
a bad
reason.
Result, but
yeah,
it's
his stock's never been higher. He'll get a good job after this.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we've done that. Quiz.
Yeah.
So 14 players have represented both Arsenal and Forest in the Premier League era. I'm looking for the 5 that have got a combined highest appearances, so you can hit me.
I've only got 4 players.
Okay, who are your 4?
I've only got 4, yeah.
Go on then, Chris, you go first.
Well, Campbell, Super Kev.
He is actually number 3.
Okay.
He's played 101 times for us, 83 times for Forest, a total of 184. He's 3rd.
Right, my players, I don't think any of these will be any of the top, so I'm just going to go with the one that I think might have had most appearances for us, and that might be Jenkinson.
No, I don't know. He is one of the players, obviously. I don't know his total. He's He's outside the top 5.
Okay. You got any more?
I've got, one, and I think it's mainly because he played more for us, but Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah, he's the top.
Oh, I don't remember him at Forest. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he only played
three games,
five times for Forest in 2010. He played 338 times for us.
Well, I've got to stick Lansbury in there.
He's
Lansbury.
fifth.
Yeah, he played
fifth.
a lot for Forest in the Championship.
149.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Three
nice
for
one.
us. So yeah,
how about Lord Bentner?
Yeah, he's fourth.
Bentner.
136. I think Chris has looked. He's googled it, isn't he? Look, he's looking at his phone. Look.
I'm looking at a bit of paper.
He's played. Bentner 136 times for us, 17 times for Forest. So
who was fifth?
Lansbury.
With
So you got Lansbury fifth, Bentner fourth, Campbell third, Ramsey first. You're missing the second.
Well, it's not. The only other one I had can't be on that list, and it's Nuno Tavares.
Yeah, Tavares on. Let me give you So, Chris, have you got anyone else?
No.
Right, let me give you all the other players. Right,
Go on.
In no particular order: Matthew Upson, Matt Turner, Armand Traore, David Platt, Geordie Osai Tutu, Amari Hutchison now,
Wow.
and Chuba Akpom.
Oh, of course.
But you've missed number 2. He has played 195 times for us and 10 times for Forest.
It's got to be Matty Upson, hasn't it?
No, he's on the list, but not there. I'll give you the years that he played for us.
Go on then.
92 to 97. And 99 in 1999 for Forest, 10 appearances. I must admit, I didn't know this player had played for Forest.
Ian Selly?
No, you got the right first name.
Ian Wright?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Wow.
Because he did that journeyman thing at the end, didn't he? He just
West
went
Ham
round
and...
I remember West Ham.
Celtic.
Yeah.
So, mad. I didn't realise, I mean, I think that's a really tough one, the players that have played for both teams. But, Chris, you did particularly well there. Bentner and Campbell and Ramsey. Ramsey top one because of the games he played for us. That was good. I wouldn't have remembered he played for Forest at all.
Who, Lansbury?
Ramsey.
Lansbury, yeah,
Ramsey.
but Ramsey wouldn't have had a clue. Kevin Campbell, I would have got. Bentner, I no memory of him playing for. I don't have very little memory of him playing for us, other than
the substitute goal.
Adebayor, other against Spurs, the Adebayor substitution. I'm only on here because you're crap when he came on, and then him falling off a car,
Trying to shag it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like,
as you do.
As you do. Anything else? I've got one serious thing to talk about right at the very end. Not talk about, but just to mention. I think it's a great initiative. But if you've got anything else to talk about football-wise?
Only in the sense that Arsenal women had their opening game of the season. They did go behind initially to London City Lionesses at home at the Emirates, but then new signing Smith, that they paid $1 million for. What? Absolutely banged it in from outside the area. That was a great goal to open the account, and then we went on to win 4-1. Can I give you, here's a quiz, a list of female players in the WSL, so any players, any team, any league, who have 50 or more assists.
What,
Beth Mead.
All time?
I was going to say Beth Mead.
And that's it.
Right, okay.
Wow.
50 assists in the WSL. She got 2 at the weekend, so yeah, Beth Mead, what a legend.
And do you know the attendance for the game?
No. I know it had dropped off a little bit.
Over 38,000.
Well, that's Highbury, isn't it? That's good.
That's brilliant. That's amazing. I mean, it would put them,
It's more than Norwich, where I live.
No, what are you on about? It would put them in the top half of the Premier League.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah, Norwich are about 34, I think, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so I was reading about this today on, a couple of big accounts retweeted it, but it's from Arsenal. Arsenal are teaming up with North London NHS Foundation Trust to pilot Together Against Suicide, a match-day mental health drop-in service at the Arsenal hub. It starts for the City home game. So every Premier League home game from City onwards, I don't know the timings, but I'm assuming it'll be like 10 in the morning till 6. You can just drop in. You just walk, no appointment. You just drop in if you want to talk to someone. If you're feeling low, you're feeling down. I don't have the exact statistics, but in 2023, there were over 5,500 suicides recorded in England. Men are 3 times more likely to fall victim to suicide. So I just think it's a really good initiative. I think it's been rolled out in quite a few Premier League clubs. There'll be an NHS practitioner there, and you just walk in and you'll be directed to waiting seating area, and you can just go and you can talk. And it starts at the City home game. When is it? Sunday? I think it's a Sunday week. City home. 21st. Is that Sunday week? That's 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Right. Okay. So I just thought that was a really kind of important thing.
Well worth flagging up. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, let's leave it there. Are we all going on Saturday?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. See, Chris is hesitant. Yes, there. I know why he was hesitating there, because he knows what's coming. So you're going to meet us before for a chant along.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
You going, Holly?
Yes, I am going.
Wicked.
So I shall be in the concourse from about 11:45, I would say. I'll be there to meet Chris at 11:45. Chris is in pain. He's like angst already because he knows the inevitable. You could just pre-time your texts, your messages, just to go off at
No, I've rearranged all my drop-offs and everything, so I should be able to make it on time.
Nice.
Because the kids have got all classes and things on Saturday, but
Yeah.
I'm on top of it, mate. Trust me.
With early
Have faith.
kickoffs, if it wasn't for me having to get back on a bus and go back to Norfolk, we could meet up after the game.
After
would
the
be better,
game,
but sadly,
Yeah.
I've got to get
because
back.
it's an early kickoff, we could actually do a podcast Saturday night.
Good idea.
There's a
I know.
thought.
There's a thought. Right, okay. Well, listen, thanks for the chat. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the next few days, and we look forward to kick off on Saturday, where we resume our 3-point march towards the title. Anyway, cheerio, gents. Bye.
See ya. Come on, you
Bye-bye.
Gunners.
The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.